God says, something very serious is about to happen to you in the next 15 minutes. Jesus is begging you, so listen to God now before it's too late. Do not scroll away from these words, because what is unfolding over your life right now carries a weight that can shift your future in a way you did not expect. And if you ignore this sacred warning, you may miss a breakthrough that has been prepared for you long before this very hour. I am speaking with urgency because something very serious is about to happen to you in the next 15 minutes, and this moment has been appointed by heaven with precision and purpose that cannot be delayed or taken lightly. Jesus is begging you to listen to God now before it is too late, because this is not fear speaking but divine protection reaching toward you with love that refuses to let you fall. Comment 1111. What is about to happen in the next 15 minutes is not an accident or random event, but a turning point that will either strengthen your faith and open a door of blessing, or pass by quietly if you close your heart and choose distraction instead of obedience. When I say something very serious is about to happen to you, I am revealing that a spiritual shift is already moving in the unseen realm, aligning circumstances, people, and decisions around you for a purpose that carries both warning and promise. Jesus is begging you because his heart burns with compassion for you, and he does not want you to ignore the voice of God that is trying to guide your steps into safety, favor, and divine elevation. Within the next 15 minutes, you may receive a call, a thought, an opportunity, or a conviction in your spirit that demands your attention and requires courage, and the seriousness of it lies in how you respond to what I place before you. This is why I am urging you to listen to God now before it is too late, because hesitation and doubt have delayed blessings in your past, and today heaven is asking you to act with trust instead of fear. Something very serious is about to happen, not to harm you, but to awaken you, to pull you out of cycles that have drained your strength, and to place you on a path where my protection surrounds you more clearly than ever before. If you feel this stirring in your chest, and you sense that these words are reaching directly into your situation, take a brief moment to like this video as an act of agreement with what I am speaking over your life, because your simple action becomes a declaration that you are ready to receive what God is releasing in these next 15 minutes. I am not asking for empty gestures, but for a sign that your heart is open and attentive to what Jesus is begging you to understand before it is too late. The seriousness of what is about to happen in the next 15 minutes connects deeply to the battles you have been fighting silently, the prayers you whispered when no one else heard, and the tears that fell when you felt overlooked and exhausted. I have seen every struggle, and I have measured every sacrifice, and now I am positioning you at the edge of a moment that can reverse discouragement and replace it with tangible evidence of my power working on your behalf. Jesus is begging you because he knows how easily the enemy distracts you when breakthrough is closest, and he refuses to let you miss the blessing that is about to intersect with your obedience. Something very serious is about to happen in the next 15 minutes because I am testing your readiness to trust me fully, even when you do not see the complete picture or understand why events unfold the way they do. This seriousness carries both urgency and opportunity because I am about to expose something hidden, close a harmful door, or open a new path that requires decisive faith from you. Listening to God now before it is too late means quieting the noise around you, resisting negative voices, and choosing to respond to my guidance without delay. You have been chosen for this moment, not because you are perfect, but because you are willing to believe that my hand is upon your life, even in uncertainty, and this next 15 minutes will reveal how deeply you trust my direction. Jesus is begging you with tenderness and intensity, because he loves you beyond measure, and he knows that obedience in a small window of time can unlock protection and provision that stretches far beyond today. The seriousness lies in the timing, and timing is sacred when heaven moves with intention. As this shift approaches, I want you to steady your heart and remind yourself that you are divinely protected, even when circumstances appear overwhelming or confusing. Something very serious is about to happen, but it will not overpower you because my presence surrounds you like a shield, and my spirit guides your steps with precision. This is not a moment for panic, but for faith. Not a time for retreat, but for confident surrender to the voice of God that is calling you forward. Type Amen. In these next 15 minutes, you will sense clarity where there was confusion, direction where there was hesitation, and courage where fear once tried to settle. Because when you listen to God now, before it is too late, you align yourself with my perfect will. The seriousness of this moment is matched by the greatness of the blessing attached to it, and your obedience becomes the key that unlocks what has been waiting for you in the spiritual realm. Jesus is begging you not out of desperation but out of deep love, because he sees the full picture of your destiny and understands how critical this small window of time truly is. Is this the same CIA brain ritual changing lives in seconds? A new leak reveals a powerful 7-second technique developed under secret research. Backed by neuroscience, people are moving from debt to wealth and luxury faster than believed possible. But this secret may be deleted soon. Click the link in the comments before it disappears. I am not repeating myself without reason. Because when heaven speaks with urgency, it is because timing is delicate and your attention must remain steady and focused. Jesus is still begging you in this hour to listen to God now before it is too late, because the seriousness of what is taking place did not end in a single moment, but continues as a process that is sealing your next season. What is very serious is not only an external event, but an internal awakening that is breaking chains you have tolerated for too long. And I am calling you to recognize that this shift carries authority over patterns that once limited you. In the next moments of your life, decisions that once seemed small will begin to feel heavier, because I am increasing your awareness so that you will not walk blindly into situations that could weaken your spirit. Jesus is begging you because he knows how easily comfort and habit can distract you from obedience, and he is drawing your heart back into alignment with my voice. The seriousness that is about to touch your life is connected to a door that has been standing open in the spiritual realm, waiting for your agreement before it swings fully into motion. I am not speaking of fear but of responsibility, because when I position you for elevation, I also require maturity and attentiveness from you. Listen to God now before it is too late means guarding your thoughts, resisting impulsive reactions, and trusting that my instruction carries protection you may not immediately see. You have been praying for change, and now that change is approaching with intensity that feels almost overwhelming. And this is why I warned you that something very serious is about to happen. I am shifting relationships, rearranging opportunities, and exposing motives around you so that you are no longer surrounded by confusion disguised as loyalty. Jesus is begging you to stay grounded in faith while this rearrangement unfolds, because when the shaking begins, it can feel uncomfortable even when it is necessary. Comment 777. The seriousness of this hour is also tied to your calling, because you have underestimated the influence you carry and the impact your obedience can have on others who are watching quietly from a distance. When you listen to God now before it is too late, you step into alignment that not only blesses you, but becomes a testimony for those who need evidence that I am real and active in human lives. I am positioning you to walk in greater authority, but authority requires surrender, and surrender requires trust that my plans are higher than your fears. Something very serious is unfolding because I am closing a chapter that has drained your peace and in its place I am writing a new story marked by clarity, strength, and divine favor. The next steps you take will determine whether you cling to the familiar or embrace the freedom I am placing before you. Jesus is begging you not to retreat into old habits when the transition feels uncertain, because your breakthrough is on the other side of obedience. You may feel pressure building, and that pressure is not meant to crush you but to refine you, shaping your character for the blessing that follows this serious moment. I am removing distractions that have consumed your attention and redirecting your focus toward what truly matters for your spiritual growth and stability. Listen to God now, before it is too late, because ignoring conviction in this season could delay what I am trying to accelerate in your life. The seriousness also carries protection, because I am preventing something harmful from taking root by intervening in ways you cannot fully see. What appears as inconvenience may actually be rescue, and what feels like delay may be divine shielding from outcomes that would have wounded your heart. Jesus is begging you to trust this process, because he sees the hidden traps you do not see, and he is guiding you away from them with compassion and urgency. As this shift continues, I want you to recognize that you are not alone in this serious hour, because my presence is closer than your breath and my hand is steady upon your path. The next 15 minutes were only the beginning of a larger movement that is still unfolding around you, and your sensitivity to my voice will determine how smoothly you walk through it. When you choose to listen to God now, before it is too late, you invite peace into what could otherwise feel chaotic. The seriousness of this time is also connected to a blessing that requires readiness, because I do not pour abundance into unprepared hands. I am strengthening your discipline, sharpening your discernment, and increasing your courage, so that when the door opens fully, you step through it without hesitation. Jesus is begging you to remain attentive, because distraction at this stage could cause you to miss instructions that are vital for your advancement. You are favored and chosen, not because you earned it through perfection, but because I see a heart that longs for truth and direction, even when it struggles with doubt. Something very serious is happening, because I am elevating your perspective and stretching your faith beyond what felt comfortable before. Listen to God now before it is too late means accepting correction with humility and receiving guidance without resistance. In this serious season, your words carry greater weight, so speak life over yourself and refuse to partner with negativity that attempts to shrink your confidence. I am teaching you that your mouth can either agree with fear or align with faith, and in this hour your alignment matters deeply. Jesus is begging you to guard your speech and your thoughts, because what you declare in moments of pressure can influence the outcome of what unfolds next. Do you know why people keep whispering about this 7-second CIA ritual? A leaked brainwave method is spreading quietly and changing financial realities worldwide. Proven by neuroscience, this simple ritual attracts money, freedom, and luxury. If you're seeing this, you're so lucky. Click the link in the comments before it's taken down. The seriousness you feel is not meant to steal your joy, but to anchor you in purpose, because joy that is rooted in obedience cannot be shaken by temporary discomfort. I am building resilience within you so that when opportunities expand, you are not intimidated by the responsibility that comes with them. Listen to God now before it is too late, because responsiveness in this season positions you for long-term stability and growth. Type 1515. As you continue forward, remember that my urgency is a reflection of love, not anger, and my seriousness is evidence of how deeply I care about your destiny. I would not warn you or guide you so intentionally if your life did not carry value and purpose beyond what you currently see. Jesus is begging you because he understands the cost of disobedience and the reward of surrender. and He desires the reward for you. I am continuing to move pieces into place, and every adjustment I make carries intention that reaches further than what your eyes can currently see. Jesus is still begging you to listen to God now before it is too late, because the window of obedience in this season is narrow and sacred, and it requires your full awareness. Something very serious is unfolding inside you as much as around you, because I am confronting thoughts and patterns that have quietly shaped your choices for years. I am exposing insecurities that have whispered lies about your worth, and I am replacing them with truth that strengthens your backbone and steadies your decisions. This seriousness is not meant to shame you, but to free you, because you cannot walk into the next level carrying beliefs that keep you small. When I say listen to God now before it is too late, I am speaking about the subtle instructions that rise within your spirit and the gentle warnings that attempt to redirect you before you step into unnecessary pain. There are conversations you must approach differently, opportunities you must evaluate carefully, and reactions you must restrain, because your maturity in these moments determines the outcome of what follows. Jesus is begging you because He understands how quickly emotion can override wisdom, and He longs to protect you from consequences that obedience could easily prevent. The seriousness of what is happening also connects to relationships that have defined your recent seasons, because not every connection was meant to travel with you into your next chapter. I am separating loyalty from dependency and teaching you to discern between genuine support and subtle manipulation. Something very serious is taking place because I am strengthening your boundaries and showing you that peace is more valuable than pleasing everyone around you. Comment 555. In this serious time, I am also refining your sense of identity because you have allowed past failures to speak louder than my promises over your life. I am reminding you that you are chosen, favored, and guarded by my hand, even when circumstances have tried to convince you otherwise. Listen to God now before it is too late means refusing to rehearse old disappointments and instead aligning your mind with the future I am carefully preparing. Jesus is begging you because He knows that the enemy attacks most aggressively when growth is near, and this seriousness you feel is partly the result of resistance breaking under pressure. You may sense tension in areas where you once felt complacent, and that tension is evidence that transformation is occurring. I am not shaking your life to destabilize you, but to uproot what cannot support the weight of the blessing that is coming. Something very serious is happening because I am inviting you into deeper trust, and deeper trust requires surrender beyond surface-level faith. I am asking you to release control over outcomes you have tried to manage on your own, and to accept that my wisdom sees angles you cannot calculate. When you listen to God now before it is too late, you step out of anxiety and into alignment, and alignment produces peace even in uncertain environments. This seriousness also touches your finances, your goals, and the ambitions you have carried quietly in your heart, because I am rearranging your priorities so that success does not cost you your soul. I am teaching you that provision flows most consistently when your heart is steady and your motives are pure. Jesus is begging you to keep your integrity intact in moments when shortcuts look tempting, because temporary gain can never compare to lasting favor. As this serious movement continues, I am strengthening your patience, because not every breakthrough arrives with immediate visibility. Some victories begin invisibly, shifting unseen forces long before you witness tangible change in your circumstances. Listen to God now before it is too late means trusting the process, even when external proof feels delayed, and believing that silence does not equal absence. The seriousness of this season is also about discipline, because the habits you cultivate now will either support your future or sabotage it quietly. I am nudging you to adjust routines that have drained your energy and to create space for prayer, reflection, and wise planning. Jesus is begging you to recognize that small daily decisions accumulate into powerful outcomes, and that consistency and obedience builds stability you will rely on later. You are not being corrected because you are rejected, but because you are valued enough for me to invest attention in your growth. Something very serious is unfolding because I am shaping you into someone who can carry responsibility without collapsing under pressure. Listen to God now before it is too late means welcoming refinement as preparation rather than interpreting it as punishment. Why was this 7-second brain ritual hidden for so long? A leaked CIA document exposed a technique so powerful people are canceling debt and calling in wealth within days. Validated by 4 neuroscience labs, it helps attract money like never before. But this page may not stay online for long. Click the link in the pinned comments before it disappears forever. In this serious hour, I am also healing wounds you buried beneath strength and independence, because unhealed pain can distort perception and influence choices in subtle ways. I am inviting you to release bitterness and disappointment so that they no longer cloud your discernment. Jesus is begging you to allow healing to reach deep places within your heart, because wholeness enhances clarity, and clarity protects destiny. The seriousness you sense is not an approaching disaster, but a divine recalibration that aligns your life with a higher standard. I am elevating your awareness so that you recognize red flags sooner, appreciate blessings more deeply, and respond to challenges with wisdom instead of panic. Listen to God now before it is too late, because heightened awareness without obedience creates frustration, while awareness combined with action produces growth. Type 999. As this movement continues, remember that I am not distant from you while these serious adjustments unfold, but actively guiding each step you take. I am strengthening your confidence so that when new doors open, you walk through them without doubting whether you belong there. Jesus is begging you because he sees the greatness within you that you sometimes overlook, and he refuses to let hesitation rob you of what is rightfully aligned for you. Something very serious is happening in your life because I am positioning you for long-term stability rather than temporary excitement. I am teaching you to choose wisdom over impulse, faith over fear, and obedience over pride. Jesus is still begging you to listen to God now before it is too late, because the difference between delay and acceleration in this season rests in your willingness to respond quickly and faithfully. Something very serious is unfolding in the realm of influence around you, because I am repositioning you in spaces where your voice will matter more than it ever has before. I am shifting how others perceive you, softening hearts that once resisted you, and revealing your character in ways that command respect without you striving for it. This seriousness is connected to reputation and credibility, and how you carry yourself in these moments will echo long after this season passes. Listen to God now before it is too late means recognizing that you are stepping into visibility that demands integrity, patience, and humility even when recognition begins to rise. I am calling you to resist pride before it has a chance to settle, because elevation without humility creates instability that cannot sustain blessing. Jesus is begging you to remain grounded in gratitude, remembering that every open door and every new opportunity flows from my grace rather than your strength alone. The seriousness of this hour is also about spiritual authority, because I am strengthening your discernment so that deception cannot easily approach you. I am sharpening your instincts and amplifying your inner awareness, allowing you to sense when something aligns with my will and when it does not. Something very serious is happening because I am increasing your spiritual sensitivity, and that heightened awareness requires responsibility in how you act upon what you perceive. You may notice that your tolerance for negativity is decreasing, and that environments which once felt comfortable now feel heavy and draining, and this is part of the seriousness unfolding within you. I am cleansing your atmosphere, removing influences that hinder clarity, and inviting you into spaces where peace flows more freely. Jesus is begging you to trust this separation process, because distance from what harms you is often the first sign of growth. Comment 222. In this serious season, I am also addressing your confidence, because you have doubted your capacity to handle the level of responsibility that is approaching. I am reminding you that I would not position you for something beyond your ability without also supplying the strength required to sustain it. Listen to God now before it is too late means rejecting the narrative that you are unprepared and embracing the truth that preparation has been unfolding quietly through every trial you endured. Something very serious is taking place in your emotional world because I am teaching you to respond with calm strength rather than reactive frustration when pressure builds. I am reshaping your reactions so that you no longer give your energy to arguments that steal your peace or to misunderstandings that do not deserve your focus. Jesus is begging you to guard your heart carefully because emotional discipline in this season will protect opportunities that are still forming. The seriousness you feel may also manifest as conviction about habits that once felt harmless but have slowly eroded your focus and consistency. I am drawing attention to areas where small compromises accumulated into subtle distractions that kept you from fully stepping into your calling. Listen to God now before it is too late, because awareness without correction can lead to regret, while awareness paired with action leads to freedom. I am not revealing these things to overwhelm you, but to equip you, because something very serious is happening that requires you to operate from a higher standard of discipline and clarity. The doors opening before you are not ordinary, and the influence expanding around you carries weight that demands maturity. Jesus is begging you to lean into this growth rather than resist it, because resistance only prolongs the refining process that ultimately benefits you. In this serious hour, I am also strengthening your prayer life in ways that feel different from before, drawing you into deeper stillness, where my voice becomes clearer and distractions lose their grip. I am inviting you to trust quiet moments, because guidance often emerges in silence rather than noise. Listen to God now before it is too late means creating space for communion with me, even when schedules feel crowded and responsibilities feel urgent. Can 7 seconds really change your bank account? A CIA-funded study just leaked, revealing a brain ritual that flips lives from broke to blessed. 4 neuroscience labs confirm it activates powerful wealth brainwaves. People are stepping into dream homes and luxury lifestyles. But this breakthrough won't stay online for very long. Click the link in the comments before it's deleted. Something very serious is unfolding regarding your future plans, because I am rearranging timelines to align with protection and purpose that you cannot fully see yet. Delays that frustrated you were not denials but redirections, and now paths are being cleared that were once blocked for your own safety. Jesus is begging you to let go of past disappointments so that you can step forward without carrying bitterness into the new territory I am preparing. The seriousness of this season is also about courage, because opportunities will soon require bold steps that feel larger than anything you have attempted before. I am strengthening your backbone so that when it is time to speak, you do not shrink, and when it is time to act, you do not hesitate. Listen to God now before it is too late, because courage grows in moments of obedience and shrinks in moments of avoidance. You are not alone while navigating this serious transition. because my presence surrounds you even when uncertainty tries to whisper fear into your thoughts. I am walking with you through every adjustment, ensuring that what leaves your life leaves with purpose, and what enters your life enters with blessing. Jesus is begging you to hold on to faith tightly, because faith anchors you when the ground beneath your circumstances feels unsteady. Type 1717. As this movement continues, understand that something very serious is happening, not to test your limits, but to expand them in preparation for a broader horizon. I am stretching your perspective so that you no longer think small about your future or your impact. I am not rushing this process, even though I speak with urgency, because urgency in the spirit does not mean panic, but precision. Jesus is still begging you to listen to God now before it is too late, because the habits you solidify in this hour will either anchor you in strength or leave you vulnerable to repeated cycles. Something very serious is taking place in your discernment, because I am teaching you to recognize patterns before they fully form and to sense intentions before they fully reveal themselves. You are beginning to notice shifts in tone, subtle inconsistencies, and hidden motives that once escaped your awareness, and this heightened sensitivity is not accidental. I am increasing your clarity so that you do not walk blindly into situations that compromise your peace or weaken your authority. Listen to God now, before it is too late, means acting on discernment rather than ignoring it for the sake of comfort, because your instinct, sharpened by my spirit, is one of your greatest protections. You have overlooked red flags in the past out of loyalty, fear of confrontation, or hope that things would change on their own. Something very serious is happening because I am closing the chapter of naive trust and opening a season of wise confidence that balances compassion with boundaries. The seriousness of this moment also touches your self-respect, because you have accepted treatment that did not reflect the value I placed upon you. I am reminding you that being humble does not mean being silent when respect is absent, and being loving does not mean allowing yourself to be diminished. Jesus is begging you to align your self-worth with heaven's view of you, because how you see yourself influences every decision you make moving forward. Comment 333. In this serious season, I am also strengthening your endurance, because the blessings that are coming require stamina rather than short bursts of excitement. You have prayed for expansion, and expansion stretches capacity before it delivers comfort. Something very serious is unfolding because I am increasing your ability to handle responsibility without becoming overwhelmed, and I am teaching you to pace yourself with wisdom rather than rush ahead with impatience. Listen to God now before it is too late means resisting the urge to prove yourself prematurely and instead allowing growth to develop steadily under my guidance. There are moments ahead where silence will serve you better than reaction, and patience will protect you more than impulse. Jesus is begging you to trust that timing matters, because stepping too early can complicate what obedience at the right moment would simplify. The seriousness you feel may also relate to choices about your environment, because I am prompting you to evaluate what surrounds you on a daily basis. The places you frequent, the voices you entertain, and the content you absorb all shape your mindset more than you realize. Something very serious is happening because I am refining your atmosphere so that it supports clarity, strength, and focus instead of confusion and distraction. I am not stripping away comfort to leave you empty, but to make room for healthier foundations that will sustain you in the next chapter. Listen to God now before it is too late means being willing to release what feels familiar when it no longer aligns with growth. The discomfort of transition is temporary, but the stability it creates will carry you further than temporary ease ever could. This serious hour is also about forgiveness, because unresolved bitterness quietly drains energy that could be invested into your future. I am not asking you to excuse harm, but to free your heart from carrying the weight of resentment that keeps you tied to the past. Jesus is begging you to let healing replace replaying old wounds, because forward movement requires lightness in your spirit. Could this 7-second CIA brainwave trick be your fastest path to luxury? Leaked research reveals a simple ritual helping people attract wealth effortlessly. Proven by 4 neuroscience labs, debt is dissolving and abundance is showing up fast. If you're seeing this now, you are God's chosen one. Click the link in the comments before it disappears. Something very serious is unfolding in your confidence, because I am removing the false humility that caused you to shrink in rooms where you belonged. I am teaching you to speak clearly, to present your ideas without apology, and to stand firm in convictions that align with truth. Listen to God now, before it is too late, means stepping into visibility without doubting whether you deserve to be seen. The seriousness of this season also involves financial wisdom and stewardship, because increase without discipline can disappear as quickly as it arrives. I am guiding you toward careful planning, thoughtful spending, and intentional saving, so that provision becomes sustainable rather than fleeting. Jesus is begging you to treat resources with respect, because what you manage wisely today positions you for greater trust tomorrow. You may feel moments of fatigue as this serious transformation continues, but fatigue does not mean failure, and intensity does not mean abandonment. I am strengthening you from within, building resilience that will become evident when challenges arise later. Something very serious is happening, because I am preparing you not just for one breakthrough, but for a series of advancements that require steady character. Listen to God now, before it is too late, because ignoring inner conviction at this stage could create unnecessary detours that prolong lessons already learned. I am not interested in repeating cycles when you are ready to move forward with maturity and clarity. Jesus is begging you to remain attentive, because distraction often appears attractive when growth demands discipline. Type 888. I have not been speaking with urgency without purpose, and I have not been adjusting your path without intention, because every correction and every prompting has been guiding you towards stability that will outlast temporary storms. Jesus is still begging you to listen to God now before it is too late, because the momentum building in your life requires continued alignment and steady obedience. Something very serious is happening in the realm of opportunity, because doors that once felt sealed are beginning to loosen in ways you did not anticipate. I am orchestrating connections, shifting conversations, and placing you in environments where your gifts will be recognized without you forcing visibility. This seriousness is not about pressure but about preparation, because opportunity without readiness creates strain, while opportunity met with maturity creates lasting advancement. Listen to God now before it is too late means responding with courage when a new path presents itself, even if it feels unfamiliar or slightly intimidating. You have prayed for growth, and growth often arrives disguised as responsibility that stretches your confidence before it expands your comfort. Jesus is begging you to resist shrinking back when your moment arrives, because hesitation can cause you to question what you are fully capable of handling with my strength. The seriousness of this season also touches your discipline in private, because what you do when no one is watching directly shapes how you perform when attention increases. I am calling you to consistency in habits that build skill, knowledge, and spiritual depth, because excellence grows from daily commitment rather than occasional inspiration. Something very serious is unfolding because I am aligning your private preparation with your public elevation, ensuring that success rests on a strong foundation rather than unstable excitement. Comment 444. In this serious hour, I am also strengthening your emotional intelligence, because influence requires sensitivity and wisdom in how you respond to others. I am teaching you to listen carefully, to speak thoughtfully, and to navigate conflict with calm authority instead of reactive emotion. Listen to God now before it is too late, because the way you manage relationships during growth will determine how sustainable your advancement becomes. Something very serious is occurring in your sense of timing, because I am teaching you to wait when patience is required and to move when boldness is necessary. You have struggled in the past with acting too quickly or delaying too long, and now I am refining your internal clock so that your steps align more precisely with my direction. Jesus is begging you to trust this refinement because accurate timing protects opportunities from being mishandled. The seriousness you feel may also be connected to leadership, because whether you realize it or not, others are observing how you carry yourself in this transition. I am shaping you into someone whose stability inspires confidence and whose integrity builds trust naturally. Listen to God now before it is too late means remembering that influence is not only about words but about example, and your quiet choices speak loudly to those around you. I am also addressing your boundaries again, because as your life expands, requests and demands on your energy will increase. Something very serious is happening because I am teaching you to say no without guilt and to protect your focus without apology. Jesus is begging you to understand that overextension weakens effectiveness, and wisdom includes knowing when to rest and when to engage. In this serious season, your faith is deepening beyond surface-level belief and becoming a steady anchor that holds firm even when outcomes are not immediately visible. I am inviting you into a trust that does not fluctuate based on circumstances, but remains grounded in my character and consistency. Listen to God now before it is too late, because stability in faith produces resilience that will serve you through both abundance and challenge. What's really behind the 7-second brain trick exploding online? A leaked CIA ritual is turning heads and bank balances. Backed by neuroscience labs, this at-home method removes money blocks and unlocks unstoppable wealth flow. But the page could vanish any time. Click the link in the first comment before it's permanently deleted. Something very serious is unfolding in your creativity and vision, because ideas that once felt distant are beginning to take clearer shape within your mind. I am stirring imagination and insight that align with your purpose, and I am encouraging you to nurture these seeds rather than dismiss them as unrealistic. Jesus is begging you to honor the inspiration I place within you, because vision ignored can fade, while vision cultivated can transform your future. The seriousness of this time also involves accountability, because I am surrounding you with voices that challenge you to grow rather than enable complacency. You may feel uncomfortable at times when correction comes, but discomfort is often the doorway to refinement. Listen to God now before it is too late means receiving constructive input with humility instead of defensiveness, recognizing that growth requires openness. You are not being reshaped because you are lacking, but because you are capable of carrying more than you have experienced so far. Something very serious is happening because I am enlarging your capacity to handle influence, responsibility, and blessing without losing balance. Jesus is begging you to stay rooted in gratitude and simplicity even as your world expands, because humility keeps growth healthy. Type 666. As this serious movement continues, understand that I am not rushing you into chaos, but guiding you steadily into clarity that will sustain you. The adjustments you are making now may feel demanding, but they are laying groundwork for stability that will support your future. I have been steady in guiding you, even when you felt uncertain, and I have not withdrawn my hand for a single second. Jesus is still begging you to listen to God now before it is too late, because the alignment you maintain in this hour will determine the stability of what unfolds next. Something very serious is happening in the realm of exposure, because truths that were hidden are beginning to rise to the surface for your protection and clarity. I am allowing light to shine on motives, agreements, and situations that once operated quietly beneath your awareness. This seriousness is not about embarrassment or punishment, but about freedom, because what is revealed can be corrected, and what is corrected can no longer secretly harm you. Listen to God now before it is too late means responding wisely when truth becomes clear, even if that clarity feels uncomfortable or forces you to adjust your expectations. You may discover that some plans must change, or that certain individuals cannot accompany you into your next season, and this realization may carry emotional weight. Jesus is begging you to trust that separation guided by wisdom is better than attachment rooted in fear. The seriousness of this time also touches your personal standards, because I am lifting the bar of what you accept from yourself and from others. You are no longer in a season where mediocrity can hide behind excuses, because I am strengthening your awareness of your own potential. Something very serious is unfolding because I am calling you into excellence that reflects both discipline and integrity. Comment 1414. In this serious hour, I am also stabilizing your inner world so that external shifts do not easily disturb your peace. I am teaching you to regulate your thoughts, to filter your emotions, and to anchor your responses in wisdom rather than impulse. Listen to God now before it is too late, because self-control in moments of pressure protects relationships, opportunities, and reputation. Something very serious is taking place in how you view setbacks, because I am reshaping your interpretation of obstacles into stepping stones rather than dead ends. You once saw delays as rejection, but now you are beginning to recognize them as redirection that shields you from outcomes that would have cost you more than you realized. Jesus is begging you to adopt this perspective fully, because perspective determines endurance. The seriousness you feel may also connect to courage in confronting issues you previously avoided, because avoidance often prolongs discomfort rather than resolving it. I am strengthening your voice so that you can address concerns calmly and clearly instead of allowing resentment to build quietly. Listen to God now before it is too late means understanding that healthy confrontation can preserve peace more effectively than silent frustration. I am also expanding your capacity for gratitude during this serious transition, because gratitude stabilizes your heart when growth feels demanding. You are learning to appreciate progress even when perfection has not yet arrived, and this appreciation strengthens resilience. Something very serious is happening because I am teaching you to find strength in progress rather than waiting for flawless outcomes before celebrating. The seriousness of this season includes increased responsibility in how you manage influence, because your words and actions now ripple further than before. I am inviting you to speak with intention, to act with foresight, and to consider consequences before making commitments. Jesus is begging you to recognize that influence carries accountability, and accountability preserves credibility. Listen to God now before it is too late means guarding your focus fiercely, because distraction remains one of the most subtle threats to growth. As opportunities expand, so will invitations that pull you in many directions, and discernment will be essential in choosing where to invest your energy. Something very serious is unfolding, because I am teaching you to prioritize what aligns with purpose rather than what merely offers temporary excitement. In this serious hour, I am also deepening your spiritual foundation, because strength built solely on emotion cannot endure sustained challenge. I am guiding you into rhythms of prayer, reflection, and intentional learning that fortify your inner life. Jesus is begging you to cultivate depth rather than surface-level enthusiasm, because depth sustains you when enthusiasm fluctuates. The seriousness you sense is also about long-term vision, because I am widening your perspective beyond immediate gain and inviting you to consider legacy and lasting impact. I am asking you to think beyond quick results and to invest in choices that will benefit you and others for years ahead. Listen to God now before it is too late means recognizing that today's discipline shapes tomorrow's stability. Type 1818. The secret ritual they never wanted public is finally out. A 7-second brain technique, backed by leaked CIA data and 4 neuroscience labs, is helping families erase debt and attract money on autopilot. But this miracle won't stay public long. Click the link in the description and comments now before it's gone forever. As this serious movement continues, understand that I am not pressing you forward without support, but strengthening you internally so that each step feels more secure. I am aligning your character with your calling, ensuring that growth does not outpace maturity. I have walked with you through every internal adjustment, every uncomfortable realization, and every disciplined step forward, and none of it has been wasted or unnoticed. Jesus is still begging you to listen to God now before it is too late, because consistency and obedience is what protects the blessing when it fully arrives. Something very serious is happening in the realm of stability, because I am solidifying foundations that will support what is coming next in your life. You have experienced seasons of uncertainty before, where progress felt fragile and momentum seemed unpredictable, but I am now strengthening the ground beneath your feet so that advancement does not collapse under pressure. This seriousness is about permanence rather than temporary excitement, because I am interested in building something that lasts rather than something that flashes briefly and fades. Listen to God now before it is too late means remaining vigilant even when things begin to feel smoother and more promising, because comfort can sometimes weaken discipline if you are not careful. I am teaching you to remain steady whether circumstances feel challenging or rewarding, so that your character does not fluctuate with your environment. Jesus is begging you to guard your heart in times of progress just as carefully as you guarded it in times of struggle, because stability requires balance in every season. The seriousness of this hour also touches your discernment regarding alliances, because as your influence expands, not every partnership will be aligned with your long-term good. I am giving you clearer vision to recognize who supports your growth sincerely and who benefits only from proximity to your advancement. Something very serious is unfolding because I am protecting your future from entanglements that could dilute your focus or complicate your peace. Comment 2121. In this serious season, I am also reinforcing your resilience, because the next stage of your journey will require emotional strength that does not fracture easily under criticism or misunderstanding. I am teaching you to absorb feedback without losing confidence, and to evaluate opinions without surrendering conviction. Listen to God now before it is too late, because resilience developed today becomes armor against unnecessary discouragement tomorrow. Something very serious is happening in the way you handle authority, whether you are under it or exercising it yourself, because maturity in authority requires humility and fairness. I am shaping your leadership to reflect patience, clarity, and compassion rather than dominance or insecurity. Jesus is begging you to remember that authority handled wisely strengthens trust, while authority handled carelessly weakens influence. The seriousness you sense may also connect to delayed rewards that are finally nearing fulfillment, because patience has been stretching you longer than you expected. I have not ignored your persistence or overlooked your faithfulness, and I have been aligning circumstances so that when results appear, they arrive at the right time. Listen to God now before it is too late means resisting frustration in the final stretch and holding steady as the outcome draws closer. I am also refining your priorities again, because growth can introduce distractions, disguised as opportunities, and discernment remains essential. Something very serious is unfolding, because I am teaching you to evaluate options based on alignment rather than popularity or pressure. You are learning that saying yes to everything weakens your focus, while choosing wisely strengthens your direction. In this serious hour, I am increasing your awareness of how you steward time, because time once lost cannot be reclaimed, and wise use of it shapes long-term success. I am prompting you to create structure where there was inconsistency and to replace procrastination with purposeful action. Jesus is begging you to respect the value of each day, because disciplined use of time builds momentum that compounds into significant progress. Listen to God now before it is too late means guarding your mental space carefully, because thoughts influence emotions and emotions influence decisions. I am encouraging you to filter what you allow into your mind, choosing inputs that strengthen clarity rather than cloud it. Something very serious is happening because I am cultivating focus that enables you to move forward with confidence rather than scattered attention. The seriousness of this season also includes gratitude for the process itself, because growth without appreciation can feel burdensome instead of empowering. I am teaching you to recognize how far you have come and to celebrate internal victories even when external recognition is minimal. Jesus is begging you to see refinement as privilege rather than punishment, because refinement prepares you for levels you once only imagined. You are not being shaped for ordinary outcomes, but for sustained impact that reflects both strength and wisdom. Something very serious is taking place because I am aligning your habits, thoughts, relationships, and priorities into a coherent structure that supports your calling. Listen to God now before it is too late, because alignment maintained over time produces peace that remains stable even when responsibilities expand. Type 2222. As this serious movement continues to unfold, understand that I am not withdrawing urgency, but transforming it into steady direction that carries you forward with confidence. What once felt intense and overwhelming is becoming structured and clear because you have responded with obedience rather than avoidance. Is this leaked CIA ritual the missing key to your financial breakthrough? A once hidden brain ritual is spreading fast. This strange 7-second method, confirmed by elite neuroscience labs, activates your brain's wealth magnet. The government may shut this down. If you're seeing this, you are God's chosen child. Click the link in the description and comments before it's deleted. I have not spoken with urgency to create fear, but to secure focus, and I have not pressed you forward without strengthening your foundation first. Jesus is still begging you to listen to God now before it is too late, because what happens next will require the same obedience that carried you through these earlier adjustments. Something very serious is taking place in the realm of decision, because choices that once felt ordinary now carry greater weight and longer consequences. I am elevating your awareness so that you understand how a single agreement, commitment, or reaction can influence months and even years ahead. This seriousness is not meant to paralyze you, but to sharpen you, because wise decisions made in clarity create stability that cannot easily be shaken. Listen to God now before it is too late means pausing before responding, thinking before committing, and seeking alignment before stepping into agreements that seem attractive on the surface. You are no longer in a season where impulsive choices can be absorbed without impact, because your life is expanding, and expansion magnifies outcomes. Jesus is begging you to lean into discernment fully, because discernment at this level is protection disguised as patience. The seriousness of this time also involves courage in stepping into responsibility that may initially feel heavier than you expected. I am trusting you with more because you have proven faithful with less, and growth often arrives carrying new expectations. Something very serious is unfolding because I am transitioning you from preparation into participation, where your skills and character will be tested in real time. Comment 2525. In this serious hour, I am also teaching you how to handle recognition without losing humility or focus. You may notice increased attention, appreciation, or opportunity that places you in spaces you once only imagined, and this visibility can tempt pride if not guarded carefully. Listen to God now before it is too late, because humility preserves favor while arrogance quietly erodes it. Something very serious is happening in how you handle pressure, because higher levels of influence naturally introduce higher expectations. I am strengthening your ability to remain composed when demands increase, and to maintain integrity even when shortcuts appear appealing. Jesus is begging you to stay rooted in principles rather than performance, because character sustains advancement longer than talent alone. The seriousness you sense may also be connected to reconciliation in areas where misunderstanding once created distance. I am softening certain hearts and clarifying certain conversations so that healing can occur where it is appropriate. Listen to God now before it is too late means approaching restoration with wisdom rather than naive trust, understanding that forgiveness does not eliminate the need for boundaries. I am also deepening your endurance for long-term projects, because the next phase of your journey will require sustained effort rather than quick bursts of motivation. Something very serious is unfolding because I am building consistency into your rhythm, ensuring that progress continues even when excitement fluctuates. You are learning to show up faithfully, regardless of mood, and that discipline is becoming one of your greatest strengths. In this serious season, I am increasing your awareness of spiritual alignment, because distractions may intensify as your influence grows. You may encounter invitations that promise quick advancement but compromise your values subtly, and discernment will be crucial. Jesus is begging you to weigh each opportunity carefully, because not every open door leads to purpose, and not every delay is a denial. Listen to God now before it is too late means remembering that obedience often requires sacrifice, whether that sacrifice involves comfort, convenience, or approval from others. You may need to choose long-term stability over short-term applause, and that choice will reveal the maturity I have been cultivating in you. Something very serious is happening because I am positioning you for sustainable success rather than fragile recognition. The seriousness of this time also touches your emotional resilience again, because growth can expose insecurities that were once hidden beneath routine. I am allowing these insecurities to surface so they can be healed rather than buried, because buried weakness eventually resurfaces under pressure. Jesus is begging you to face these vulnerabilities with honesty rather than denial, because healing strengthens confidence. You are not walking through this serious transition alone, even when responsibility feels isolating at times. I am reinforcing supportive connections that align with your purpose, and quietly distancing influences that no longer serve your growth. Listen to God now before it is too late, because alignment in relationships strengthens clarity in decision-making. Type 3030. As this serious movement continues to mature into visible progress, understand that I am not finished refining you, but I am satisfied with the obedience you have demonstrated so far. The urgency that began as a warning is becoming direction that carries you forward steadily and confidently. Something very serious is taking place in your confidence, because you are beginning to see yourself through a lens that is closer to how I see you. Doubt that once spoke loudly is losing its volume, and fear that once shaped your hesitation is slowly releasing its grip. This seriousness is about identity becoming firm, because when identity stabilizes, decisions become clearer and direction becomes stronger. Listen to God now before it is too late means protecting this growing confidence from comparison and insecurity, because comparison quietly steals peace and distorts perspective. You are not called to mirror someone else's journey, and you are not measured by timelines that were never designed for you. Jesus is begging you to stay focused on your lane, because distraction through comparison can slow the progress I have carefully arranged. The seriousness of this season also touches your sense of responsibility toward your own growth, because I am shifting you from reacting to life into intentionally shaping it. You are no longer drifting with circumstances, but actively choosing discipline, clarity, and wisdom in how you respond. Something very serious is unfolding because you are stepping into ownership of your decisions rather than allowing external pressure to dictate your direction. Comment 4040. What if 7 seconds is all it takes to flip your financial fate? A shocking CIA leak just exposed a hidden brain ritual helping ordinary people erase debt and pull in massive wealth. Backed by 4 neuroscience labs, this at-home method is turning struggle into luxury fast. But this page could be erased any moment. Click the link in the first comment now, before it's gone forever. In this serious hour, I am also teaching you how to handle peace without suspicion, because in past seasons calm moments made you anxious, as if stability could not be trusted. I am healing that expectation of disruption and replacing it with trust that peace can be sustained. Listen to God now before it is too late means embracing peace fully instead of bracing for loss when things begin to feel secure. Something very serious is happening in how you interpret challenges, because obstacles that once felt personal now appear as strategic lessons rather than attacks. I am strengthening your perspective so that difficulty no longer shakes your belief in my presence. Jesus is begging you to remember that resistance often confirms growth rather than negates it. The seriousness you feel is also connected to long-term vision becoming sharper, because I am expanding your awareness of what is possible beyond immediate results. You are beginning to think further ahead, planning with wisdom rather than reacting with urgency. Listen to God now before it is too late means aligning daily habits with long-term purpose, because consistency today builds the stability of tomorrow.